Chet Gilbert brought numerous country music artists to Golden Voice, and the country field was widespread with even more who came and made careers after recording at Golden Voice. In addition to Tommy Rutledge, electric and pedal steel guitar player Fred Newell recorded an album at Golden Voice with Mike Templin titled Make It Mellow. Fred moved on to Nashville, where he became a member of the Nashville Now House Band. He also backed artists such as Waylon Jennings, Marty Stewart, Porter Wagner, Chris Jensen, and many others. Tim Atwood was another country artist who shared the stage at the Illinois Country Opry, and his name as a piano player is on the back of many Golden Voice albums. Tim played for 38 years at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, and the list of stars that he played for is endless. A young couple who enhanced their lifestyle with music were Chris Allen and John Holm. Both Chris Allen and John started music at a young age, and it was music that brought them together.
After working about a 40-hour week as a cashier, I would go into a very small studio in Springfield, Illinois, and sing background harmony or overdubs on other people's projects, maybe a little commercial here and there, and listen to the music in the headsets. I would be in there after hours, after the musicians had left and laid their parts down. I would listen to that and sing my part, and then I would leave. At a different date, the musicians would come back and put the lead parts down, and I would come back and listen to the additional music, one of which happened to be my future husband, who played steel guitar, John Holm.
John had already played music at Golden Voice by the time he met Chris Allen. He remembers his first session when Little Debbie Sue Hutchison recorded You Ain't Woman Enough and listened to a country song.
I started playing with a country group called Chaparrals, and within that group, the rhythm player, Lloyd Hutchison, had a daughter that was wanting to get interested in singing. So she would perform different times with us. And then as she got better, she needed something, a record that she could sell as she traveled to the different Opries, such as the Illinois Country Opry. Lloyd went ahead and booked a session at Golden Voice through Jerry Milam. At that time, I didn't have any idea what to expect. When he said, we're going to come in and do a record, I walked in and there's all these knobs and buttons and these different rooms that you play in, and you're not all sitting in the same circle, and that totally absorbed me with trying to understand how this works together, and you end up with the sound like that.
John's interest in the electronics end of the recording eventually led to owning a studio of his own. But during these early years, and as country music grew in central Illinois, several investors from the Pekin area decided to build an Opry building in Pekin that would be similar to the one owned by Chet Gilbert in Petersburg, Illinois. John and his wife, Chris Allen, became part of the house band at the new Frontier Auditorium, and the music director, Jerry Brightman, inspired John Holm and his wife, Chris Allen Holm, to consider making a record.
Yes, the Frontier Auditorium was looking for house band members, and particularly pedal steel. And so I went for an audition, and they had hired Jerry Brightman as the production manager. So he was the one that was trying out different members for the house band. And after I was chosen, I said, by the way, my wife sings. So in just a few minutes after he heard her sing, he decided he wanted both of us. Jerry Brightman was the actual steel player for Buck Owens for many years and traveled around. And then I learned later on the connection with the Frontier Auditorium and Jerry Milam, which put in all the sound in there and tuned the building. He was doing things at Golden Voice while he was also taking care of everything at the Frontier Auditorium.
This connection between Jerry Milam and Jerry Brightman at the Frontier Auditorium led John back to Golden Voice several years after that first recording session.
Jerry says, why don't you do a recording for Chris, something that she can sell off stage? And as that continued on, then Jerry Brightman introduced us to Wayne Watson.
He suggested that we consider doing a 45. He introduced us to Jerry Milam at Golden Voice Studio, found a couple of songs for the 45, which was Wayne Watson, Holding On to Your Love, and the other side was written by Dan Beard and Snow. So we practiced the songs, and he arranged for studio musicians, which he was one. He played dobro on Snow. Roger Cox played drums. John played steel guitar on Holding On to Your Love. We went into the studio and cut the songs, and it was nothing like the recording studio experience I had at the small studio in Springfield, Illinois.
Not only did John and Chris experience the pleasures of having their own 45 recording, but their relationship with Wayne Watson led them to the opportunity of what may have been the longest playing advertising commercial done in the Midwest.
We were approached by Wayne Watson, who also wrote Holding On to Your Love, and he had written a commercial for Christian Brothers Western Wear. It was a small business at that time in Pekin, Illinois, and he wondered if perhaps we would like to approach them and see if they'd be interested in buying the commercial. We did. They were interested. We went back into Golden Voice and recorded it, and on that recording, John, my husband, played pedal steel guitar. Wayne Watson and his brother Larry Watson were on the recording. Wayne, I believe, played rhythm. I believe maybe Larry played lead, bass. We came back to Christian Brothers and let them hear what we had done. They fell in love with it. And I believe that commercial played for almost 40 years. Wayne is the only one who got paid for that commercial, and rightly so. What we had arranged with Christian Brothers was, if you will say, now here's Chris Allen and the Frontiersman for Christian Brothers Western Wear, before each time the commercial played, that got us a little recognition, and it got us a lot of jobs and fair dates and shows. It helped us, obviously helped them, because they expanded to 6 stores in different cities around central Illinois over that nearly 40-year time period.
After you've looked here and there, haven't found a decent thing in Western wear. After you've tried all the others, come on down to Christian Brothers.
It was nothing like the recording studio experience I had at the small studio in Springfield, Illinois. Golden Voice just blew me away. It was just an amazing experience. It made you feel like a professional when you walked through the door, even if you weren't one. You thought you were, and you did your best.